Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to be doing something again just a little bit different, and I'm going to be ranking all the films directed by John Carpenter. So for me, John Carpenter is just one of my favourite directors. I absolutely love his movies. He's one of these directors that, for me, no two movies are the same. Each one he releases, whether it be good or bad, is just so different to the last film. But yet you still know it's a John Carpenter film when you watch it. He just has his fingerprints all over his films. But again, they're just, some of them are just so entertaining to boot. I just absolutely love the guy's work when he was interested in making films. So for me in this list, there's 21 movies I'm going to be ranking in this list. I am going to be including 3 TV movies he's directed as well. Elvis, Someone's Watching Me, and Body Bags. Even though he did co-direct that movie with Tobe Hooper, I'm still going to include it in this list. But everything else as well I'm including that got a theatrical release. So all 21 movies that he's had a hand in directing that I'm going to be including. So yep, hope you'll enjoy this list. This is just my personal list, how I would rank these movies, how I enjoy them from least to favourite. It's just personal preference, so there's no right or wrong to this. So that being said, gonna kick it off with number 21.
Come on, you mindless motherfuckers!
Ghosts of Mars. So yeah, this for me, John Carpenter had well and truly, I think, had jumped ship in terms of enjoying being a director at this point. I think maybe this was the one that killed it for him. But this movie for me is borderline terrible. Yeah, it's my least favourite John Carpenter movie. That's why it's at this place on this list, coming in at number 21. It's a shame because it's got such a great cast to it. Natasha Henstridge, Ice Cube, Pam Grier, Jason Statham. You know, on paper, that sounds quite interesting, but for me, the movie just doesn't work at all. The best thing about it probably is the score, but the movie it's just not enjoyable. It's not entertaining. I think the biggest sin that this movie committed was when the movie was about to end, I was pumped. I was kind of pumped. Some action was going to take place, and then the movie just stopped, and I couldn't really believe that it had stopped right there. Right as shit was about to hit the fan, and it piqued my interest, and the movie just ends, and I just couldn't believe it. So disappointed with this one. It doesn't get any better on rewatch, unfortunately for me. But yeah, it's just John Carpenter's darkest hour. So that's Ghosts of Mars. So coming in at number 20, we have Dark Star, John Carpenter's first movie. So yeah, this is very much a student type of movie. You can tell this was just like a couple of buddies from college just decided, you know what, let's just make a little silly sci-fi movie with next to no budget. And that is exactly what the movie is. It's a very interesting starting point for John Carpenter. Like I said, some of his movies just feel so different to the last one made. There's not really another John Carpenter film I can compare this movie to. It's very much its own thing. It feels like the outlier of his catalogue of movies that he's directed. It's just a very bizarre film, low budget, little sci-fi action movie, and just unfortunately not a lot happens, but it's an okay starting point. It's just whenever I start to do a John Carpenter marathon, this and Ghosts of Mars tend to be two of the ones that I skip, unfortunately, but it is what it is. I know some people like this, some people hate it. It's a very Marmite movie, but yeah, it is what it is for me, so that's Dark Star. So coming in at number 19, we have
So, since we have a new member, let's go over the rules. Everyone gets a chance to talk. No interrupting. Just say what's on your minds. Who'd like to begin?
The Ward. So, yeah, this is John Carpenter's last movie that he directed, starring the arsehole of Hollywood, Amber Heard. But yeah, I didn't mind this movie. I just thought John Carpenter must have made this film just so Ghosts of Mars wasn't his last movie. Absolutely, what a film to tarnish your legacy with as your final film. So I think he kind of just made this one. It's an okay little suspenseful thriller. It's very, very similar to the movie Identity with John Cusack, in my opinion. It kind of sort of follows similar beats for beats in that one, but I think that is a much better made movie. But yeah, this kind of has a similar sort of premise. All of these sort of girls in this sort of institution and trying to find out what's going on. But yeah, it's definitely not John Carpenter's finest hour, but it's not his worst either. But it finds itself at number 19 for me. So yeah, that's The Ward. So coming up at number 18, we have
Wife, little baby, success. I got it all, man. I ought to be the happiest person in the world. But I still feel like there's something missing, you know?
Elvis. So yeah, this was a TV movie that John Carpenter had made with Kurt Russell, the actor who I most associate John Carpenter with. I absolutely love that actor-director partnership. But this, for me, kind of left a little bit to be desired, unfortunately. I'm not the biggest Elvis fan, but for me, I thought this was an okay movie. I just really didn't think Kurt Russell kind of sort of worked in the role for me. After seeing other movies like The Thing, Big Trouble, and the two Escape movies, it was kind of difficult to go back and watch this one with Kurt Russell in the role of Elvis. I always seen him in these sort of badass roles that, you know, when he was being directed by John Carpenter. But it's not a bad movie. It's just, for me, it's a bit long in the tooth. The runtime is a little bit excessive, but it is a TV film. But it's just not bad. It's just not one that I would personally go back to a hell of a lot and rewatch, unfortunately. But yeah, it is what it is for me. So that's Elvis. So coming in at number 17, we have...
Oh, you were here and you locked it yourself? Awfully early to be drinking, isn't it? No. You remember me? Big, joker? Just a minute, Miss Leone.
Someone's Watching Me. So yeah, this was again another TV movie that Carpenter directed. I think this movie came out on its broadcast around about the same time Halloween was released. But yeah, I thought this movie was okay. It was a good little suspenseful thriller. But unfortunately, because this is directed by John Carpenter, when you watch this film from start to finish, there is absolutely nothing, apart from maybe the fact that Adrienne Barbeau is in this film. There's just nothing that screams John Carpenter about this film. You can watch it in its entirety and you probably wouldn't have any idea that it was a John Carpenter movie. There's just nothing, no sort of auteur stamp on this film to suggest it's John Carpenter's movie. It was probably a case of, let's give Carpenter the script and he just has to work with what he's got with. And yeah, it's an early movie. He hadn't found his footing, I don't think, yet. But yeah, just nothing about it that screams Carpenter. Probably be one of the last names you would think who directed this movie. But yeah, that's why it's just so low on the list. But it is a good, solid little thriller for me. So that's Someone's Watching Me. So coming up next at number 16, we have...
I'll kill him. I swear to God.
Back off. Do what he says. Move it.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man. So yeah, kind of similar to Someone's Watching Me, this movie doesn't really feel like a John Carpenter film. I know that this wasn't really sort of a vehicle of his. This movie was very much had its ball rolling without Carpenter being attached to it, I think. And I know my good friend Mike over at Cinema X-Man kind of said that the movie was about to be made and they needed a director, and they kind of just put a load of directors' names into a hat and pulled out John Carpenter, and that's exactly what it feels like. Chevy Chase is fine in the role. I think he's pretty good with Daryl Hannah. Sam Neill is great as the villain in this movie, and you can probably tell that John Carpenter, out of the actors in this movie, probably got on best with Sam Neill the most. So they went on to do another film. But yeah, it's a bit of a clunky, awkward film, but for me, there's just something still quite likable about it. I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it, but yeah, I think it's probably maybe because of the effects and the practicality of the movie. I don't know. I just enjoyed it, even though it's not one of my favorites. I just still think it was an enjoyable, entertaining film. But again, not John Carpenter's finest hour. So that's Memoirs of an Invisible Man. So coming up next at number 15, we have
Gotta be kidding me.
Escape from LA. So yeah, this is again not John Carpenter's finest hour by any means, but there is something still very, very likable about this film. It very, very much feels like a diluted version of New York. But having said that, it has been a while since I've seen the film, but there is still something still quite likable about it. Maybe it's the inclusion of sort of some new characters and actors. Steve Buscemi, Bruce Campbell has a little cameo in this movie as well, which is just weird and bizarre. But yeah, it's definitely not John Carpenter's finest hour. I mean, you're constantly asking yourself when you watch this film, how can a movie with a bigger budget still look worse than its predecessor with a fraction of the budget? But somehow they managed to pull it off. Some of the CGI in this is borderline unforgivable, but the movie still has a charm about it, which I do like. So yeah, that's Escape from LA. So coming up next at number 14, we have Village of the Damned. So yeah, this is a remake from John Carpenter. This, for me, is probably John Carpenter's most underrated movie. I really do have a good time with this film. I know it's not great. Christopher Reeve is a very, very interesting choice for the lead in this film. I hate to say this, but I just think he lacks a little bit of charm and charisma in this role. But you've got some great supporting characters in there as well. Mark Hamill as the priest. Absolutely fun to watch. But yeah, this movie just has a great score and it has great atmosphere. The setting of this movie really, really elevates it as well. It is a stunning looking movie. It really is. The kids in it are really, really creepy as well. It's got a really, really sort of horrific premise to it as well. But again, if I'm looking at the movie objectively, or subjectively, I should say, it still is far from being perfect. But there is still, kind of similar to Escape from LA, there is still something for me that I find very, very likable about this film. But I still enjoy it, and I do think it is his underrated gem. So, yeah, that's Village of the Damned. So coming up next at number 13, we have...
Do you read Sutter Kane?
In the Mouth of Madness. So yeah, this was again sort of the follow-up collaboration with Carpenter and Sam Neill in this kind of very sort of weird nod to Stephen King, I think, in this movie. It's a very, very bizarre film, but it has some really, really good creepy imagery in this film. I love the sound design of this movie. Sort of, again, sort of wrapping around this mysterious author, Sutter Kane, who's kind of like parody of Stephen King in this film, and this new book's coming out, everyone's obsessed and excited, and Sam Neill's just kind of, yeah, really, really good in this role. The ending to this is just absolutely bizarre as well, but it's such a strange film, but I can't help but not like it. Really, really enjoy this one, so that's In the Mouth of Madness. So coming up next at number 12, we have...
Right? Forget whatever you've seen in the movies. They don't turn into bats. Crosses don't work. Garlic? You want to try garlic? You stand there with garlic around your neck. One of these buggers will bend you fucking over and take a walk up your strata chocolata while he's sucking the blood out of your neck, alright? They don't sleep in coffins lined in taffeta. You want to kill one? You drive a wooden stake right through his fucking heart. Sunlight turns them into crispy critters. Got it?
Vampires. So this is a really good vampire movie from the 90s, in my opinion. It has some really, really awesome creative kills at the start of this movie. Really, really enjoyed the sort of this ragtag band of vampire executioners get together, and seeing them do what they do best at the start of this movie is really good. But then after that, the movie takes this weird turn, and it's just an absolute bloodbath. Really, really bizarre premise, but love where the movie goes. I think James Woods is absolutely fantastic and very, very likable as the lead in this movie. Really, really enjoy it. The villain is a little bit generic, but James Woods does enough for me to definitely make up for that and carry the movie. And it is good. It's, again, I wouldn't count this as John Carpenter's finest hour. Definitely not, but there is still a lot of fun to be had with this film. Really, really enjoy it, really have a blast with it, and it's a good underrated vampire movie from the 90s. Not as good as from the likes of From Dusk Till Dawn, but still very, very entertaining. So that is Vampires. So coming up next at number 11, we have...
Ugly? Man, are you ugly. Well, we all know it isn't what a person looks like. It's what's inside that counts.
Body Bags. So yeah, this is the movie that he co-directed with Tobe Hooper. I think Carpenter did 3 segments of this movie, whereas Tobe did 1. But what makes this a bit unique as well is that John Carpenter actually appears in this movie as well, and I have to say, by far, he is probably the best part of the movie. He sort of is the bridge between stories in this little anthology horror, and he's just a lot of fun. Really, really entertaining, goofy, funny character in this film. We just kind of just follow him going around this morgue, and he sort of like integrates between stories. But it's a good little horror anthology. It's got some real. It has focuses on 3 stories. One takes place at a gas station. Another one is kind of like about somebody who wants a hair transplant, and the third story is kind of involves Mark Hamill, who is this baseball star. He ends up losing an eye, and they find a transplant for him, but it's the eye of a serial killer. And yeah, it's a really, really fun little movie. Really, really enjoy it. But like I said, for me, the best part about the movie is Carpenter. He is just so entertaining in this film. So that's Body Bags. So coming up next, as we crack into the top 10, we have...
Okay, are you crazy?
almost got us killed. You said you watched me. You said you knew the rules.
I do know the rules.
Oh, well, for your information, pal, that was a yellow light back there.
I watched you very carefully. Red light, stop. Green light, go. Yellow light, go. Very fast.
Starman. So yeah, bit of a weird choice, I think, when you sort of think marrying up the partnership of Jeff Bridges and John Carpenter, but they just work together so well in this film. Great Karen Allen in this movie as well. Sort of plays this woman who's recently lost her husband. This alien comes to Earth and takes the form of her husband, and it's very much a road trip movie more than a sci-fi film, but it's just the chemistry that these two characters build up along the way. It's really, really good. And I'd also say as well, from this point on my list, I think all the John Carpenter films I'm yet to touch on, including Starman, are probably top tier Carpenter for me. Just, there isn't a bad one amongst them, but yeah. Starman for me, really, really good performance from Jeff Bridges, really well done movie, great chemistry between the leads, and I just enjoy this film, so that's Starman. So coming up next, at number 9, we have... The Fog. So yeah, this is again is an absolutely stunning movie about pirate ghosts. It's just one of the best atmospheres ever in a John Carpenter film, I think. In The Fog, it is just absolutely stunning. Some of the cliff scenes and the water in this movie just look absolutely great. It's got a phenomenal cast. Tom Atkins, Jamie Lee Curtis, Adrienne Barbeau, even Janet Leigh shows up in this movie. It's just an awesome, awesome, suspenseful, atmospheric movie. Like I said, the atmosphere, it just drips off the screen. It just looks absolutely stunning. Very, very creepy as well. Is it, again, sort of a fantastic movie? I don't think it's a phenomenal movie, but for John Carpenter, this is absolutely great for him and for what he does. But I still really, really enjoy this movie. I think it's great. It's the atmosphere again that is the selling point for me. It's a fantastic, fantastic movie to watch in the October season. So yeah, that is The Fog. So coming up next at number 8, we have... Prince of Darkness. So yeah, this is a blend of sort of sci-fi and religion that goes into this movie, reuniting again Carpenter with Donald Pleasance from Halloween. Yeah, just a really, really fun little creepy movie with some great effects in it, great soundtrack. Alice Cooper is just terrifying in this movie. Really, really sort of creepy looking character that he plays in this film, but yeah, it's a very, very entertaining film. Again, I don't think it's John Carpenter's finest hour, but it certainly has the John Carpenter auteur stamp all over it. Just tell this is a Carpenter movie from start to finish. It is just absolutely brilliant. Gorgeous looking 4K as well. So yeah, really, really enjoy this one. That's Prince of Darkness. So coming up next at number 7, we have... Big Trouble in Little China. Yeah, this is a great Carpenter Russell vehicle. I absolutely adore this film. Everything that you think you know about John Carpenter when you get to this movie, throw it out of the window, because it is absolutely batshit bonkers, this film. Really enjoy it. Jack Burton is just thrown into this absolutely absurd mission that he has to sort of go on. His sidekick in the movie is more of a hero than he is. Jack Burton, just without even trying, is just one of the clumsiest heroes ever, and it is just so entertaining to watch. Really enjoy this film. Great supporting cast, great setting, great effects. It's just absolutely bonkers, and like I said, everything you'd expect from Carpenter, just throw out the window. It's just a really entertaining, fun film with a great soundtrack. So yeah, that is Big Trouble in Little China. So coming up next at number 6, we have...
Hey, this is regular vanilla. I wanted vanilla twist.
Assault on Precinct 13. So this is John Carpenter's second movie. Yeah, I really dig this movie. I think the theme tune to this that he composed is just absolutely phenomenal. I really dig it. It has one of the most brutal scenes of a child murder that you'll ever see in a movie, involving an ice cream truck as well. It is just absolutely horrific. I don't think it would ever be made today. But that's what I like about this movie. It's definitely a product of the times, but it still doesn't feel dated or aged to me in any sense of the word at all. I just really enjoy it. The movie is essentially Night of the Living Dead, but in a police setting without any zombies. It's just really fun, entertaining movie. Great looking movie as well. I love this sort of this hot setting that it has. Really enjoy this film. Just, yeah, absolutely love it. It's just a great early entry into the Carpenter filmography. So yeah, that is Assault on Precinct 13. So coming up at number 5, we have...
You dirty motherfucker!
They Live, starring Roddy Piper and Keith David. This is just an absolutely phenomenal sci-fi film with such a great little simple premise. Really enjoy this. It's all following these two workers who, one of them discovers a box full of sunglasses, and they put the sunglasses on, and the real world of what is happening sort of exposes itself, and it leads to one of the most entertaining fight scenes I've ever seen in a movie. Some great dialogue in this film. It is just a joy. This movie is one of these movies that I think time hasn't really hurt its relevance at all either. It is still relevant. It's always been relevant, this film, and it's just so entertaining to boot. I just really enjoy it. I think the two leads have amazing chemistry as well. So yeah, that is They Live. So coming up next at number 4, we have...
Your mother and I have decided to help you buy a new car.
Well, that's what everybody wants, isn't it? Well, fuck you. I'm fixing up Christine.
Christine. So yeah, this is an amazing Stephen King adaptation, in my opinion. I absolutely love this film. I love everything about it. I love the setting, I love the score, I love the performances. I just really dig this movie. I think it does so much, again, with a little. It makes a car terrifying, which is a hard feat to do when you think about it. It's all of the techniques of John Carpenter that bring this car of Christine to life in this movie. Keith Gordon's great as a lead in this movie. He's a sort of nerdy kid who's constantly getting bullied, and we watch him descend into something else by the end of this movie. He is completely a puppet to this car, and it's just fascinating to watch. It's just a great performance, and it's just one hell of a creepy movie. I just absolutely love it. Like I said, great performances on it. There's some funny moments in this movie as well. I just absolutely love it. It's one that I really, really look forward to whenever I'm doing a Carpenter marathon, so really, really enjoy this one. So that's Christine. So coming up next at number 3, we have Escape from New York. Yeah, just a brilliant, brilliant concept to this movie. Let's just make New York a giant prison. The president gets lost in there, and we've got to get someone in to get him out. Snake Plissken, played iconically by Kurt Russell. Really, really love this movie. Just an absolute blast with it. Again, the theme music, absolutely phenomenal. You can tell that this movie had a small budget, but my God, they absolutely nailed the execution to perfection, in my opinion. Everything just works so well. Great set of characters in the movie, great stakes. I just absolutely love it. Lee Van Cleef, Tom Atkins, Donald Pleasance, can't go wrong. You're in very, very capable hands, in my opinion. Harry Dean Stanton, yeah, really, really enjoy the cast of this movie, and Kurt Russell kills it. Snake Plissken, he's an absolute badass. Yeah, really, really enjoy this film. So that is Escape from New York. So coming in at number 2, we have
Chicken! Go ahead, Lonnie. Go in!
Hey! Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
Halloween, John Carpenter's horror masterpiece, in my opinion. Another masterpiece as well in terms of sound design and technical aspects. I absolutely love this movie. It is a October 31st staple for me. I always watch it on that day every year without fail. It is a great, great horror film, in my opinion. I just absolutely love it. The Shape, Michael Myers, is just what a horrifying entity in this movie. Doesn't really say a single word in the film, and we're just on the edge of our seats with fear because of this babysitter killing thing. And yeah, it's just a great, great movie. The score on it is absolutely iconic. Donald Pleasance as the whole representation of good in this movie, and Michael Myers as the whole representation of evil, just create this great juxtaposition. I absolutely love this film. I love the ending to it as well. Had we not got a giant Halloween series and this had been the only film we'd got, I probably would have been okay with that because the ending is just absolutely iconic. But I'm glad we got some sequels because I do like the first 3 Halloween films. But yeah, John Carpenter's Halloween, an absolute horror masterpiece for me. So yeah, that's Halloween. So coming up next at number 1, we have...
This is pure nonsense. Doesn't prove a thing.
I thought you'd feel that way, Gary. You were the only one that could have got to that blood. We'll do you last.
John Carpenter's The Thing. Yeah, this is one of, if not the best movie where paranoia is the centre of the plot. It is just an absolute masterclass of a film, in my opinion. Practical effects in this movie are second to none, and they still hold up to this day. There may be 1 or 2 cracks that start to show now, maybe with some of the stop motion towards the end of the film, but 99.9% of the visual effects in this movie are absolutely flawless in my opinion. The characters in this male-driven cast, absolutely phenomenal. Just the fear and, like I said, paranoia that is set amongst them oozes off the screen. You absolutely feel it. Just what a great setting, closed off from the rest of the world. And this alien entity is just slowly becoming this parasite and infecting people and taking them over and replacing them very, very quickly. And our lead, MacReady, has to do something fast in this movie by any means necessary. Some you agree with, some you don't agree with. It's very grey in that area, and I absolutely love that about this film. It's just John Carpenter's visual magnum opus. Yeah, I can't really add anything or say anything else about this movie. I just think it is great. The 4K transfer on it is just absolutely phenomenal. It wasn't love at first sight for me with this film though as well. I just didn't get it the first time. But on rewatch, it really has sunk in with me. I've marinated with it a lot. I've really, really grown to appreciate it. And it's my #1 all-time favourite John Carpenter film. So coming in at first place, guys, we have The Thing. So yeah, those are my ranking of all 21 movies directed by John Carpenter that I've included on this list, guys. I'm going to leave the video there and say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.